The IT tech guy and me did not get off to a great start.
This is Michael Scott, regional manager of a mid-sized paper company in Scranton, and by his own account, everyone's best friend. He derails meetings for a laugh. He undermines his own authority constantly. He needs every person in that office to like him, genuinely and specifically. The show plays most of this for comedy, and it's funny. But there's a loneliness underneath it that keeps surfacing over 9 seasons, whether the show means to show it to you or not.
Have it, sir.
What?
Michael isn't just bad at being a boss. He's afraid of being alone with himself, and the jokes, the games, the constant need to be the center of attention. That's what keeps that from happening. Take away the office and the audience it gives him, and there's not much left standing. The show spends 9 seasons proving that, mostly by accident. Here's what I'm getting into. Why Michael's need for approval runs deeper than a personality quirk. Why comedy is specifically how he avoids sincerity. Why The Office works as an actual family substitute rather than just a workplace. And what a few of the show's quieter scenes tell you about what's underneath all the noise.
Okay, break it down in terms of. I'm. Okay. I think I'm getting you.
Michael's need to be liked is the load-bearing wall of his entire personality. Everything else is built on top of it. He'll derail a serious conversation for a laugh when the moment clearly calls for him to shut up. He invents contests and events for no real reason, except to make the office pay attention to him. Diversity Day, the award ceremonies, an entire episode built around getting people to acknowledge his birthday a second time in 1 year. And he's keeping score. Who laughs? Who plays along? Who seems to actually enjoy him? One employee being mildly annoyed can throw off his whole day. Toby is the clearest example. Toby hasn't done anything hostile to Michael. He's just neutral, mildly unenthusiastic about the antics, the way most reasonable coworkers would be. Michael treats this like betrayal. It becomes a years-long grudge that makes no sense next to what Toby's actually done, which is nothing. That disproportion is the whole tell. Most people can handle one coworker who isn't particularly warm toward them. Michael can't, because Toby's indifference isn't a minor irritation. It's a crack in the wall, and even one crack is a threat when the wall is holding up everything. To be clear, needing some approval from other people is normal. It's not a red flag on its own. What's different with Michael is there's no backup system underneath it. When the room is laughing, playing along, he's fine. Genuinely happy, even. The second that stops, something in him buckles, way out of proportion to whatever actually happened. He's not overreacting to small things. The small things aren't small to him, because there's nothing else propping him up if the room turns, even a little.
Find out if there's a cheaper, less expensive baby out there, okay?
Michael's humor doesn't come from confidence. Watch closely, and it's almost always doing one job, getting ahead of a moment before it turns uncomfortable or sincere. He makes the joke before someone else can make him the joke. He fills silence the second it threatens to become something real, something that would require him to actually sit with a feeling instead of performing one. At this point, it's less a personality trait than a reflex he can't switch off, even when switching it off would clearly help him. Watch what happens when he's actually confronted. Jan raises real concerns about his management, and he deflects with a bit instead of engaging. His employees are visibly annoyed after a scheme backfires, and his instinct is almost always to escalate the performance rather than just say he got it wrong. Doubling down on a bit is safer than admitting a mistake. Sincerity costs him something jokes never do. That's why the moments the humor actually drops land so hard. Proposing to Holly, no bit, no deflection. Just someone genuinely uncertain and exposed. Sitting with Pam during a hard moment in her life, no joke reached for at all, which for Michael is almost more surprising than anything he says. And his real goodbye in the finale, not the fake out earlier in the episode, the actual one, alone with Pam in the office, the performance mostly disappears, and what's left is more sincere and more fragile than the version of him running the rest of the show. He's not incapable of real feeling. He's built a thick wall of comedy around it, because sincerity costs him something jokes don't.
Toby is in HR, which technically means he works for corporate, so he's really not a part of our family.
Michael calls The Office his family more than once, and not as a joke. And the show doesn't play it as an exaggeration either. His actual family barely appears. When it does, it's distant and a little awkward. His mother remarries a man he clearly resents. His siblings get mentioned more than shown. There's no home life anywhere in this show that offers him what The Office does. He spends nearly all his waking hours there, and it's the one place where he has any real say over how much attention comes back to him. That reframes a lot of what looks like bad management. The holiday parties that go too far. The birthdays that stretch on way longer than anyone wants. The team-building exercises nobody asked for. None of that is really about running a good office. It's someone manufacturing reasons for people to be close to him, over and over, in a place that wouldn't produce that closeness on its own if he just let it run like a normal workplace. He's not failing to keep work and personal life separate. He doesn't want them separate. The people at work are, functionally, the only people he's got. That That's also why Michael takes departure so hard. Jim getting sent to Stanford, people threatening to quit over the years, Holly's transfer especially. A normal manager loses an employee and adjusts. Michael loses something closer to family every time, and the show lets that land as genuinely sad more than once instead of just inconvenient.
And nobody can hear me because I am terribly, terribly alone.
Michael is one of the funniest characters this show ever produced. That's not in question. But every so often, it gives him a scene that isn't funny at all, and those scenes explain him better than anything else in the series. His grief when Holly gets transferred plays completely straight, no punchline in sight. The episode where he's alone in the office over a weekend, quietly inventing ways to fill the silence, is one of the sadder hours the show ever made. And the childlike relief on his face the few times he feels genuinely wanted, Holly especially, looks nothing like how guarded he is the rest of the time. Those scenes matter because they prove the performance isn't the whole story, even though the first few seasons make it easy to assume it is. He's not a shallow character who happens to be likable anyway. There's real depth in there. It just stays hidden behind a defense mechanism he's run for so long, it's easy to mistake for his whole personality, until the show lets you see under it, just long enough to know it was there the entire time. Michael spends the whole show performing a version of confidence and connection that never quite lines up with what's underneath it. Maybe that's what makes him one of the saddest characters in sitcom television, dressed up as one of the funniest. He didn't need people to laugh at his jokes. He needed proof over and over that he wasn't as alone as he was afraid he might be. If this changed how you see a character you thought you already had figured out, that's exactly what this channel's about. Hit subscribe if you want more of these, drop a like if it landed, and tell me in the comments who deserves the next breakdown.